Hi, Doug. How are you?
I'm well, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm great. Your thoughts, first of all, on Grayson Allen with what we saw last night against NC State?
Well, the first thing is he sucked. He wasn't any good. For a kid that talented, he didn't play well. And NC State, it's more of an indictment of how poorly NC State has performed to this point. That you can see this kid Dennis Smith Jr. is terrific, and if they can figure it out, they're that team you don't want to play in the NCAA tournament. As for Grayson Allen, I think he's caught in this weird area of I don't want to get punked, but I don't want to be a punk, right? So he walks through the huddle, and I don't think there's anything sinister. On the other hand, dude, just walk around the huddle. You don't have to be some tough guy. Look, their team kind of lacked grit and toughness, and they're just not. They don't seem to have natural leadership. They don't have a point guard. Right now they don't have their normal head coach. They're trying to integrate, 3-star freshmen. One, Harry Giles, is not nearly as good as he was before his 2 knee injuries. And so there's a lot of stuff going on there. And I think it's pretty obvious he's having a tough time, compartmentalizing the issues and just playing ball and knowing that, look, dude, every team that's going to go in there is going to try and rattle you, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Odell Beckham Jr. Once you get a reputation, dudes are going to try and get under your skin. You bump into somebody, we're going to try and punk you and see if we can, bring out that other side of Grayson, because he obviously doesn't know how to handle it. But, Seth Greenberg saying you should sit him down for the years is insane. You just got to work through it, man. This is college stuff, and it's a perfect opportunity for Jeff Cable to show that he can run this program.
Yeah, I reacted the same way with Seth Greenberg because I was watching the game in real time. Bill has said it's not a big deal, to which I disagree. It's a big deal because it's Grayson Allen. Somebody else, it's not. And if I don't know who benefits by sitting Grayson Allen down the rest of the year for a guy who has intentions of going into the NBA. I don't know what his draft stock is, but I wouldn't draft him if I know his coach or coaches are going to sit him down for the rest of the year. And you're right. He has to understand he's almost playing with his chip on the shoulder like everybody's picking on me and doesn't understand he's the reason why everybody's picking on him. He has to learn how to get back to his freshman year when he sort of played and had fun and was, at times the best player on the floor. He's almost regressed here, Doug.
I would agree. And look, some of it is they don't have somebody else who commands the attention as a point guard, who commands the attention as a leader. Remember, his freshman year, he didn't play for half the year. He barely played until the end of the season. And, he made a reputation based upon the championship game, in which he was spectacular, but he's also the fifth option. Yeah. One of those guys that's barely on the scouting report. And it's much more difficult when you're the number one option. So I think, you fast forward 2 years forward, and now we've seen the tripping incidents and the weird crying incident on the bench after he tripped the kid from Elon. And the indefinite suspension which lasted a game. And look, I don't think Coach K did him any favors. It's pretty obvious last year, either one of those trips, sit him down for a half, sit him down for a game, make it about the long play instead of the short play. Now I don't know what Jeff Capel feels empowered to do. Remember, Capel, if this was really his staff, he would have an old head sitting over there next to him. He doesn't. All those guys are younger than him. So he doesn't have somebody to kind of give him the balance of, hey, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. But that thing's kind of a mess. It doesn't mean they can't figure it out. I mean, can you imagine if Duke's an 8-9 seed and they're taking on Nova or UCLA in the second game of the NCAA tournament? Mm-hmm. That said, if you take out the second half of Miami, who is a non-NCAA tournament team, the last 3 of the last 4 halves, first half Miami and both halves last night, they haven't looked very good. They're not looking like they're progressing the right way, even with Tatum coming around. They're starting to get some more production. They don't know what their lineup should be. They don't know who their leader is. Grayson Allen's head's somewhere else. He's not shooting well. He's not taking great shots. They're not able to defend. So they got some issues there. Some first world problems. They got some issues. Talking
to Doug Gottlieb from CBS Sports. I don't know if CBS is involved in it. I think CBS, TNT, I don't know if it's a joint venture. You guys do carry the tournament together. But you're going to have March Madness now starting in February, where basically the playoff selection committee that we had in college football was going, hey, this is the top 4, or here's your top 15. This is what it could look like. Now we're going to have the field of 68 revealed once a week for, I think, 4 weeks in February. How does this impact the college season? How does this impact March Madness?
I don't think it has much impact other than it gives us a snapshot of the kind of the predetermined bias heading into the last month, right? In that, how much do you weigh what happened in November? How much do you weigh what happened in December? Because that's really what it's going to be. It's a reflection of that. The important basketball is February on, right? That's when you are what you are against teams that know what you're doing in league play. On the other hand, what you do out of league has some sort of value. So I think they're going to kind of show their cards as to, like, here's kind of the predetermined bias over the first 3.5, 4 months of the season that we think, and then let's see how it plays out. But, look, end of the day, that's not really what people want. What people really want is we want to be in the selection room during the selection process. And until that happens, you're not really going to satisfy our desire as fans to know more about the process and have a better feeling for how each team is selected.
What I have recommended, not that anybody's listening to me from the NCAA, but that is let us in the room of Selection Sunday and let us take 15 minutes worth of information out for how many hours you're in there, piece it together, and then give you some kind of show, or we can allow you to see this, and it can be modified, edited, so nobody's putting themselves out there, or somebody's going to be embarrassed by something. But I would love to just see a little bit of it with some cameras in there to see how the process works. Is that something so far-fetched down the road here?
I don't think it is or shouldn't be. I think people are, everyone's afraid to have somebody's feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Right? I still have no idea how Tulsa made it to the NCAA tournament last year. How did South Carolina not make it to the NCAA?
I agree.
Like, how do these things happen? And the idea that you're going to now, show me the top 16 seeds and that's we're good now. Like, that's not really okay. I kind of think the world has changed. I think we deal a little bit better with information. What is that? Sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. So if you show us, you and I were in the same, we're fans, but we've been around this thing. There's nothing wrong with showing us the inside of a meeting. Like, look, I'd love to, if I'm NBC Sports Network, okay, the network that carries your radio show, I would love to have a camera with you watching the games with your crew all day Sunday. How awesome would that be? Just listen to Tony Dungy. I mean, it's no different than what ESPN captured with the coaches' room. Like, how cool was that during the national championship game? All right, so you fast forward that to the NCAA selection process and just have us in the room. Like, all right, so somebody mentions that Georgetown sucks. Like, good, Georgetown in their heart knows we suck this year. Like, there's nothing you can really, and there'll be good debates, and there'll be somebody supporting you, somebody not. And again, I think people's feelings might get hurt in the short term and the long term. Like, look, that's kind of part of what the process is. This is what we know is being discussed. Maybe this is it's the supporting your work, right? Here's the problem. Here's the answer. Deal with how we got to it. Like, no. Show your work. I want them to show you their work. And I don't think this shows their work. I think this makes you think they're showing you their work, but they're really not.
Doug, thanks for joining us as always.
Dan, it's always my pleasure.
That's Doug Gottlieb from CBS Sports.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.